Hey there. So this week I wanted to talk about something I get asked all the time, and that is, if you knew you were going to be an engineer, why'd you go to Harvard? And if you were going to go to Harvard, why'd you become an engineer? So I think a lot of the time people think because it is a liberal arts college that you're not going to be doing hard science, and that's just not true. Harvard is ABET accredited, so after I graduated, I went on and took my Fundamentals of Engineering exam, and I do have my engineering training license now. So I definitely learned, and I feel like I actually got to do a lot more with industry while still in undergrad, which was a great experience. So yeah, at Harvard, during our sophomore year, we had a forum, and that really kind of introduced us to all the different fields. We got to meet engineers with all the different disciplines. So at the time, I was a bioengineer still, and I got put in a group with environmental engineers, electrical engineers, and we were given these examples and just coming up with solutions for different problems. And it really took all of our expertise in our own areas to really piece together what you could do to solve this real world problem. And I think that was just the introduction to what engineering teams really are. You have so many different people involved, and you never do anything all on your own, and it's actually irresponsible to try to do everything all on your own because you cannot possibly know every single thing. So yeah, I think that was a really cool experience. Then my junior year, we actually worked with an industry company, and we're creating products that they would actually use, and it was just the real world experience of creating something and actually working with a team to build that, and just understanding the presentations, understanding really putting together spec sheets, and just seeing the technical and also the real world application of what you were doing, which I think is just invaluable as an engineer. And then senior year, we actually did capstone projects, so we built things. Some people did coding projects, but a lot of us actually built something, which was really awesome. We had the whole department support, and it was just getting to put something together that you have figured out on paper, but you actually get to see it in the real world, which I think is the most exciting part of engineering. At least for me, I get really bored just staring at paper and doing all the homework theoretically, so actually getting to use my hands and putting something together, that's just the coolest part of engineering for me. So my senior year, I built a green wall. I built these modular pieces out of ceramics, and I did a bunch of just testing on the materials, and I got to work with so many different departments at Harvard. I got to work with the School of Public Health, just really all over the place, and use so many different techniques and instruments that I had never used before. I got to learn so much, and I think that's just the really interesting thing is a lot of schools don't make you actually build something. They don't actually put you in those situations where you're going to build your own product as an undergrad, and that's just so awesome. It is really one of the most valuable experiences of my life, I think. So yeah, ultimately we had really great resources. We got to really talk to industry leaders. We got to talk to professors who are the leaders in their field, and they've been doing this for decades, longer than I've been alive, and that's just awesome to hear about all of their experiences. They also just have really cool networks of friends in academia, and so you're talking to people who have created something super awesome, and they're just talking with you over coffee and a lecture, and it's so awesome. It's really just kind of a once in a lifetime experience that you have over and over again there. So that's what I really appreciated. For me, I really wanted a school that wasn't going to separate me from the other studies. I really appreciated that Harvard doesn't separate you out if you're an engineer. A lot of other schools do have separate engineering schools and School of Arts and Sciences. So when I was visiting those schools, I noticed that a lot of engineers only have other engineer friends, and not that engineers aren't super awesome and interesting, but I just wanted to still be able to meet all kinds of people, get to know all kinds of people, and I really got that at Harvard. So I ended up, my senior year roommates were an arts major, a sociology major, I've had pre-med roommates, I've had social study roommates. It's been kind of all over the board, and it's so cool. You get to see all the different interests, you get to see stuff all over the board that I feel like I wouldn't have gotten if I just hung out with engineers. I definitely love the friends I have in engineering and applied sciences. These relationships are something I still am so happy I had, because I wouldn't have survived it, honestly, without all of those friends that we just are together all the time and really grew together. But it was really great just to see all the different kind of fields. I think that really just kind of gave me a more well-rounded experience that I wanted. Not that there's anything wrong with technical schools. Definitely, it's always just about what you're looking for. So don't just take my experience as the end-all be-all. There's really so many different experiences out there, and you really just have to figure it out for yourself. I loved that I got to take School of Education and the law school classes. I took some philosophy classes from the law school that were really cool. I took some education classes, and I feel like that made me a better engineer. I just kind of got to know those skill sets too, and I think that made me a more just well-rounded and down-to-earth engineer a little bit. I feel like I know how to approach situations differently than some of the other engineers, just because I did have those classes and those background experiences and building up those skill sets. But again, it really just comes down to what experience you want. So for me, that was kind of my ideal. I have a lot of friends who went to other schools that were more technical, that kind of separated them out a little bit, and they definitely loved it. They had great experiences, and now they're off with their degrees doing what they love. So we all kind of just get what we put in when we want to really get that experience. So I would love to hear any questions you have about engineering in general, engineering at Harvard, undergrad engineering. Go ahead and leave me a comment, leave me a question, and I'll see you next time.